Most people think it's just the game. It's not the game. It's the lessons. It's the things that correlate directly to life that sports can provide, in football in particular, because it is so team dependent. You know, all 11 guys on the field depend on each other. Things just don't go right if the other 10 aren't doing their job.
Down, set, hut.
Since Dorian was born, I've always had football around him at some point. Whether it's us watching, college football together, he's always had a football jersey, uniform. I always put it in. We watched games together. Even me just holding on to him in front of the TV watching football.
Look, who's that? That's that Tom Brady, huh?
When Tampa Bay won the Super Bowl, there's pictures of me tossing him in the air because we had a really cool father-son moment together. We watched, Tom Brady win the Super Bowl for Tampa Bay. His favorite football players, Tom Brady. As he got older, he wanted to, get the helmet. He's got the helmet now, and he just wants to run around and play.
But to be honest, up until this point, I just always romanticized about Dorian playing football. But now that he's getting to the age that he's actually going to start playing, that all changes for me now.
Now I really have to start thinking about, should he participate in a sport that we really both love?
And whether the health risks are just too high.
Now another Bills player is down.
All the statistics about head injuries, the Damar Hamlin injury, it all really gives me pause. So to help me make that decision, I talked to coaches, youth football officials, athletic trainers, and doctors to help me make an educated decision.
Why should you let your kid play football? It's pretty simple. Hard work, discipline, accountability, commitment, learning what competition is, how to compete, learning what team is, how to rely on people, how to be relied on. The list is so long, it would take all day.
But for all the pluses also comes the minuses. Injuries.
Preparing your kid to play football is a little bit, it's like preparing to be a gladiator warrior, right? Like you never know what the competition is going to bring. You can only provide them with the utility of like the pads and the helmet and the understanding and the know-how, the coaching and all those things that go into it, right? There's only so much you can do as a parent. And spread of age group, somewhere between 5 and 18, there's going to be a big range of the type of injuries that you can see. On the little kid side of things, as they're getting to Pop Warner and all that, you don't tend to see the kind of dislocation or instability event kind of injuries. You tend to see more like they broke their ankle, broke their arm, that kind of stuff. So a lot of times you'll come in, it'd be no different than if they were riding on a skateboard or playing at a trampoline park. As you get kind of closer into that middle school kind of range, or junior high as we call it now, you start getting into where they can actually start having those instability events. Now, when I'm talking about instability, that could be things like tearing your anterior cruciate ligament, like your ACL, dislocating a kneecap, popping your ankle out of place, definitely popping a shoulder in and out of place. And so you can start to see a lot of those.
What about everybody's football boogeyman? Concussions. I know there's a lot of risks in football. What's really important is to understand how they happen and what to look for and what to do if your kid suffers a concussion.
So really simply, a concussion is a mild traumatic brain injury that results from a hit to the head, neck, or body. And those forces transmit up to the brain and result in or initiate a neurotransmitter and metabolic cascade. That's a really kind of sciencey way of saying, and when I talk to parents, I usually say it's a hit to the head, neck, or body, so you have to have some sort of mechanism. And then it's distinguishing if the patient or the athlete just feels abnormal. You don't necessarily have to understand all the signs and symptoms associated with a concussion, but if they seem abnormal, if they're saying things that make them seem like they have a headache, they're feeling dizzy, nauseous, feeling in a fog, or if they just feel abnormal in any way, take them to a healthcare provider and certainly remove them from play.
Life for a kid has its risks, and concussions are one of them. In football, where we do everything we can to work against that possibility, it is often less likely It certainly was in my Pop Warner experience than it was in football.
It's changed for the better. The game is safer now than it's ever been.
That's Joe Hines, commissioner of the San Diego section of the CIF, or California Interscholastic Sports, the governing body of high school sports here in California.
We had 2 days, all fall. We had, we wore gear every single day at practice. We hit just about every single day at practice. That contact's been brought way down, and it's for the right reason. I mean, they really don't even, maybe 1 day a week teams will practice in full gear.
Like you said, it was the Wild West. Coaches basically could do as much as they could handle. I remember not here, but someplace else where we did 2-a-days every day, and Monday was a 3-a-day because after dinner we had a special teams practice. And just going because it wasn't regulated.
That contact's been brought way down, and it's for the right reason. I mean, they really don't even, maybe 1 day a week teams will practice in full gear. So it's definitely, they've realized that you don't need that contact every day. You just need to, again, stay sharp, but it's not an essential part of the game anymore.
Ready, check, go.
We limit, in particular in tackle football, the amount of contact they can have per week. I believe it's something like 20 minutes. And one would think in 2.5 hour practices that they'd be hitting, it doesn't work like that. Separate in the same groups, let's go. About the most contact they make in our practices are the tackling drills. And in our particular program, we work on those drills every single practice. It's just the greatest opportunity for something to go wrong. So it's where we spend a considerable amount of time teaching them, training them, creating that muscle memory so that they do things right.
We've got to make sure we're same foot, same shoulder, hit with the head up, and drive through it. Okay? Just don't run through it. Here we go.
Head up, head up.
Nice job.
You should be able to look through the person. You're driving them backwards.
Nice shot, Jacob.
I'm a parent and I'm watching this at any level, especially when they're tackling.
Sure.
What am I looking for as a parent if I see something wrong? Okay, maybe I need to.
Worst thing you could see is your son or daughter's head down. The top of their head, the crown of their head or helmet pointing in any direction other than up.
This is the form that coaches are being trained to teach now.
Like I said, there are slightly different variations of it. Most of them are all around the idea of heads up.
Right.
Heads up tackling, heads up football. We use the Seahawk method, the hawk tackling method, where again, if you're approaching a defender, you want your near foot and near shoulder to make the initial contact. You'll notice my head is off to the side as I make the tackle. I'm not trying to dart through you. I'm not trying to shield you from getting away with my head or neck. I'm trying to use one side of my body to make that initial contact. I wrap and I'm going to drive through with my head off to the side.
Dorian.
Even after everything I learned, the question still stands. Will I let Dorian play football? That's totally up to him. As long as he still wants to lace him up, and as long as he's having fun, that's what he's gonna do.